Have you seen all the beautiful vacation pictures and also the new fancy cars that are all on the street and you're wondering, I don't have that. Should I? Or have you been thinking about what exactly does true financial well-being actually mean? Well, if so, then stick around because on this Well Twin Show episode, we're actually going to talk about signs that you are doing financially well, even if you don't feel like it. So, with that, Nadia, I think we should get started.
Yeah, we'll get started. So, in case you guys don't know, I know there was a blurb that came out a couple of years ago that said if you have $10 in your pocket and no debt, you're actually doing better than 15% of American households. Now, that was a couple of years ago, but I'm sure that still holds true, or you might be even doing better than 15% of American households. On top of that, if you make over $37,000 in the US, you are in the top 1% of wealthy people in the world. So you may feel like you're not doing well, but if you look at it through that perspective, you're actually doing a lot better than you actually feel that you are.
I will actually throw in one more statistic if you're throwing out stats at the very beginning.
Okay.
That did you know that I think it's over 57% of Americans don't even have $1,000 without going into debt if they needed to cover an emergency expense. So if you have $1,000 or more that you can use for emergencies, you're also doing well better than more than half of Americans are. So if we're throwing out stats, let's just throw that one out there as well.
Yeah. So, like, if we're talking about how to understand if you're actually doing well financially, I think there's a couple of givens, right? It's given that you should not have a high amount of consumer debt on your credit cards. And if you do, you're able to pay off that debt pretty quickly, you know? So, that's one given. Like, if you're not carrying a lot of credit card debt. Another given would be if you're paying your bills on time. Now, at one point, I had the money to pay my bills on time, but I just wasn't because I was just being lazy, and that had truly impacted my credit score. So it's not enough of just having enough money to pay your bills on time, but also being diligent enough to be disciplined enough to pay those bills on time when you have the money. Now, when we look at those things, they're a given when it says, all right, I'm doing well financially. But what are some of the intangible things or things that can't be quantified by you paying your bills on time to give you some kind of signals that you're doing financially well? And I would like to think of things that I looked at myself when it came to understanding if I was doing financially well compared to my peers and compared to other people. And one of those things were if I was able to donate or give away an amount of money that I thought was significant to me at a time before, but it didn't really impact my finances once I did that. And that would be to me when I started being able to donate $100 or give someone $100 and not feel that financially. Now, that may not seem a lot to people, but when I was growing up, loaning someone $10, $20 seemed like a big thing, especially if you only had $20 left to last you to your next pay period. So when I was at the point that I was able to donate $100 to any cause that I felt like, or to anyone who needed it at the time, and not feel like that impacted my finances, that to me was a signal to me that I was doing well financially. Now, you may have a number in your head that may be higher or lower, that if you're able to donate that and that doesn't impact your finances, that may signal to you that, hey, you know what? Maybe I am managing my finances well. What do you think, Nicole?
I think that's definitely true. When you're able to give money away freely and not have that money impact you, because you can be good people give money away, but and sometimes it comes at expense of their own well being. But
Right.
if you're able to give money away and it's still not really impacted by it, I think that's definitely a sign that you are, you're financially well at that point. I would say another sign that you're doing financially well, even if you don't feel like it, is when you start actually focusing on more personal development stuff. So, like, there's this thing called, I'm not even sure if I'm going to say it right, but Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And the first basic needs is what everyone has to take care of. You have to take care of your shelter, your food, and your safety. But once this Maslow hierarchy of needs is actually shaped like a pyramid, right? So the higher you go up, the more you're going to start moving away from actually necessities to actually focusing on wants and desires. And personal development is pretty high. When you start working on your self esteem, when you start working on your physical appearance, when you start working on um, your betterment of your, you know, mental, like just learning more, I think that's only can happen when you stop worrying about covering the necessities, right? So if you're actually putting down the remote and you're starting to actually pick up books and you're looking as to ways, how can I better myself? How can I improve myself on a daily basis? And personal development has really become a part of your life and something you feel like is definitely something you need. I think you're doing financially well.
I would agree with that. I think Maslow's pyramid is called self actualization, and I
Mm,
think it's something good because um, a lot of the times we use the metric of seeing what we have outwardly as a way of showing that we're doing well financially, right? And I think if you're not the kind of person who wants to show how well you're doing with money by showing outward appearances of wealth, like having a nice car, spending a lot of money on different clothing and jewelry and stuff, you need other metrics to measure yourself and give yourself a baseline to say, you know what, here's why I think I am, and how can I measure myself against that if wealth to me does not mean buying materialistic things. And when you get to the point where you actually have to think about self development and actualization, then I think that is a significant metric to measure your wealth because that says, you know what, money's no longer an issue for me. This is not something I have to focus on, and it doesn't take up a lot of my mental energy. But it's something now that my brain space is freed up and I can start focusing on things that are going to make me a better person. And I think more people should look at it that way. In that aspect, you won't be so jealous about things that you see on Instagram when you know half of the time those you never know what's going on behind those pictures, right? Someone could be driving $1 million car or whatever, let's say $200,000 Ferrari, but at the same time, they may be living in that Ferrari or something like that. Or they may be renting it for the day and just doing it for pictures. So when you have different metrics to measure yourself by when it comes to finances, I think you move past the point of making so that you think, okay, I'm doing well because I can show this stuff. You reach another level saying, there are different things that I can measure myself by showing myself that I'm actually doing well with money. And one of those things is, hey, are you able to put money towards your retirement without impacting the rest of your finances? Because I know a lot of times saving for retirement is kind of difficult, right? But if you're doing significantly better with money, you're able to budget the money to put towards your retirement and not have that impact your current finances. And that's another way of saying, hey, I'm doing well with money. I may not show it outwardly by having a nice car or fancy clothing, but if you look at it overall, I'm probably doing better than a lot of people who show their wealth that way. That's my
I
opinion.
think where you're going with is more like you're able to delay gratification, because I don't think actually saving for retirement is hard. Okay, you
Okay,
just putting
true.
the money in a different bucket. What's hard is saying I'm going to take the money I have today and put it away for tomorrow.
That's true.
Okay, and that right there is, how can I delay gratification, right? And if you're used to saying, all right, I have to impress others, or I feel I have to impress others, and you start worrying about others more than you worry about yourself, then yes, you're going to fall in the trap and saying, I need this money right now. Or if your bills are not where, or you're able to cover your bills very easily, it's very hard for you to take your mindset and say, I need to shift to think about how can I control or help control my future rather than my present. So if you don't have the present taken care of and the present is a struggle, there's really no way for you to actually focus on the future. But if you're able to consistently invest in retirement, consistently invest in your future, that is a great sign that you got the present covered, and now you get to worry about future you. And when you're able to do that, I think that's definitely a sign that you're doing well financially. I was writing this stuff down because I really wanted to think about this. And um I'm not a fan of debt, right? But I do have credit cards, and I think there's two ways to use credit cards, right? There's one where you're trying to use it to keep up with a lifestyle and also to make ends meet.
Hmm.
That is not a way I prefer anyone to use credit cards, but I definitely know that there's a case, right? But another way that people use credit cards is to use it for the benefits that credit cards give you. One, you can get money back, or two, you can get points, airplane points, whatever things you can get, right? And also, you can actually take the money that you would use now and put it off to a later date and let somebody else pay it. But these
True.
people are using those credit cards in a way where they're using it for the benefit. They're paying off the entire bill at the end of the month. So they're not getting hit with any interest, and they're just getting hit with just the benefit of having a credit card. I think when you start using credit cards like that, and those that actually use credit cards like that have their money in control in a way that is definitely beneficial for them and shows that they are doing financially well. And it doesn't even matter if the credit card is only $500 or 5,000. It shows that again, you're delaying gratification so that you know, okay, I'm able to put that money down now, but I'm using it towards points that I can use in the future. And I'm going to pay off the money right away so I don't have any type of interest payments coming towards that. So I think paying off your credit card in full every month just to get the benefits, and that's the only reason why you're using it, is a sign that you're doing financially well.
I would agree with that because if you take a snapshot of my finances during the month, you may see that my credit card bill could be high, but that gets paid off at the end of the month. So I would agree. I would use credit cards specifically for the cash back for if I'm going to Whole Foods and I know I'm going to get the prime discount if I use my Amazon card. Those are the reasons why I will use it. It's not so much as trying to have it as a go between being paid and then have it hold me over until my next paycheck or anything like that. I think another sign that you're doing financially well is when you choose to buy things based on their value to you and not how they would be perceived by other people. You know, one of the things that I laugh about when I think about this. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be frugal, but being frugal is a good thing, especially if you want to have a sign that you're good with your money. Is because you're able to buy things that are of value to you and not fall into the trap of just buying things because you think other people might find them interesting or you're trying to impress other people. So when I think of myself, I say, you know what? I have cars that are probably 10, 12 years old. I don't spend money on
Stop lying.
cars.
They're older than that.
They probably are. My new to me car is 20 years old. I bought a used minivan. But my thing is, I don't spend money on cars. But if you look at other things I do purchase, like if you saw my yarn collection because I knit, you will see like I'm kind of a yarn snob, and my yarn collection probably costs more than one of the cars I drive. But that just shows like I'm making a conscious choice of where I want to spend my money and it doesn't impact me. So if you're spending money on hobbies like that, but it doesn't impact your finances in other ways, I think that's a sign of you being good with money. That's just my opinion. Maybe people don't agree with that, but I think that's a way. Like if you're able to be frugal enough to spend your money on the things that you value and maybe not what society values as a whole, that is a sign that you have stepped away and become more mature with your money and how you use it to benefit you and not for the outward appearances of what it has for everyone else.
I just want to make sure that when we're talking about this, I want people to really understand this is not about how much money you make, right?
Exactly.
Because you can make a ton of money and still not be financially well off. I know people who are living paycheck to paycheck making over 200,000 a year. So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how you're managing the money you get and how
Hmm.
responsible you are with the money. If you're able to save more than a person that's making much more than you, then you're doing financially better than that person, okay? So I just want to make that clear. But I also want to go back to the point of values and things. Now, I wouldn't say for me, it's always because I'm frugal, but I would say one thing, and maybe people let us know in the comment if you agree with this. I don't like wasting my money. So one of the things I don't like wasting my money on that I really do enjoy, I enjoy going out to eat. But lately, the quality of the places I've been going to seems like it's going down, but the prices are going up. So I get upset when I'm paying more for lower quality of goods, I would say. So one thing I do is try to eat well at home. So I'm buying some nice food at home. And if I can get higher quality ingredients, or maybe I'm just becoming a better cook, could be both. I'm just saying. But with that, I'd rather spend my money on high quality ingredients and get a good experience rather than just say I'm able to pay to go out and have a mediocre experience. So when you realize it's not about the money that you're spending, but the value you're getting for whatever you're spending it on, I think you're doing financially well because you start seeing difference that money is something that can be used in a way that shouldn't be wasted. And when you understand the value of money that can be used as a tool for multiple different things, happiness and also well being, then you start picking and choosing where you're going to spend that money. And when you start picking and choosing rather than letting outside influence dictate what you're doing with your money, I think you're doing financially well.
I think so too. And I think one of the things we didn't really touch upon, maybe we touched on it a little bit, is that you're no longer stressed about money. That is a
Hmm.
clear sign that you are doing well financially or better off than you were before when money is no longer a stress to you. because it's very easy to be stressed out about money if you're not paying your bills on time, if you feel like everything is just coming at you, you can't pay for emergencies or anything like that. It's a lot of stress that comes with being feeling like you're under the gun when it comes with not having enough money. But when you feel that stress from money is lifted from you, that is a clear sign that you're doing better financially. Now, it
Mhm.
could be just a $10 difference. It could be, you know what, I lowered my student loans, or I adjusted this payment, or I refinanced this loan, and now a bit of that stress is lowered. Okay. That is a sign that you're doing better financially. These are little things that if you check them out, you would be able to track your progress a lot more. Don't worry
Yep.
about the monetary amount like we were saying before. It's about, how do you feel? How are you moving around in your life? Are
Are
things
you are
getting
you
done?
arguing with your significant other? Are you sleeping
Exactly.
well at night? Okay?
Exactly.
Are
There's
you
a lot
stressed
of
out with your kids?
Yeah, there's a lot of things when it comes to finances that can't be quantified by a dollar amount, you know? There's other things that mean a lot more than just money. And when you start getting your money under control, and it doesn't matter how much, as long as you start getting it under control, these things will show up in your life. And these are signs. Just like when people are working out, the scale is not a good monitor of what changes are going on, right? They say, oh, you should feel like you're getting stronger, or the changes are going to be more subtle. But the same thing happens with your money. When you're doing better with your money, those changes might be subtle in the beginning, but keep it up, because you should use those signs as motivators to keep you going to get better and better with your money. And then eventually the monetary and the non-monetary values and like measurements are going to line up, and you're
Mhm.
going to see a bigger difference in your life. I'm just telling you this because at some point you're going to feel like, why am I doing this? Why am I cooking at home when all my friends are going out? Why am I delaying this gratification when I can buy it now? If you continue down that road, I guarantee you'll be a lot happier when it comes to your money than you would be if you fell for those pressures earlier on. It's those
Yeah.
micro signs that you have to look out for. And we can't tell you exactly what they are, but if you look out in your life and you see those little changes, I guarantee if you start tracking those, you'll be a lot more surprised at how well you're doing with your money than if you weren't tracking them and you're only going by a dollar amount.
Yeah, you know what I would suggest, if we're telling you all these things and you might say, I don't agree with this, I don't believe this. If you don't, just keep an open mind to what we're saying. And I suggest that you do one thing. One thing I would suggest is that you stop reading and watching the news, okay? Because once you stop doing that, you will realize all the information that the news is meant to keep you to watch and keep you giving you some type of emotional stimulus, right? But once you cut out that type of news and understand that you will understand that you have more control over your situation and more control over your feelings. You can't let the news hijack how you feel and how you think, because they're doing things for a lot of time is for headlines. Now there's some positive stories in the news, but most of the time it's meant to keep you entertained or to keep you stressed or something, to find out what's going on next. Don't worry about things that you can't control, right? You can't control the outside economy. You can't control inflation, but you can control your own inside economy. You can control how much you're spending on what you're spending on. Those things you can control. And if you take out those influences that are not helping you and being positive influence on you, like the news, you will see that you'll be more receptive to understanding, like, yeah, you know what, I should be grateful. And on top of that, I am doing quite well, because it'll make you seem like everybody's having a hard time out here. But that's not the case. There's a lot of people doing very well. So cut out the news and see how you really are being affected right now financially.
I would add to that, cut out the people in your life who are making you feel bad about your finances and letting you feel like you're not doing well when it comes to your finances if they have different values than you. You know, maybe
Hmm.
someone's making you feel bad because you didn't buy a particular thing, like, oh, you couldn't afford the new sneakers that are hot right now, but maybe that wasn't important to you. But if you're around people like that and that's their set of values, that's going to make you feel bad all the time. And you're always going to feel like you're losing, right? Find other people who have the same values as you, have the same goals as you, and then measure yourself by that way. That way, you're not going to feel bad about the people you're around because you're all working towards similar goals, right? So
Hmm.
that's just my point of view on that too.
Okay, so with that, Nadia, now if we convince people that they are doing well, better, much better than they thought financially, what is the next steps to actually start bringing that outside measurement that you were talking about and that inner measurement, that mental, physical, emotional benefit and that actual physical benefit in terms of seeing the numbers, what should we do? I think the first thing they should do is keep doing what they're doing. Make sure you're paying your bills on time. Make sure you're lowering your expenses. Make sure you're lowering your debt, right?
Yeah.
Then the next thing I would do is say they should start investing and start building wealth. Do you agree with that?
I would agree. And even if you think of investing and you don't want to invest in the stock market, start investing in yourself. Maybe you want to go back to school. You can invest in your education. Maybe you want to start a little business. Put some money away to invest in yourself so you don't have to borrow that money. But you can invest in different ways. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, but put that money away, let it start compounding for you, and be there for you when you need it. Because that's the thing. If you really want to build wealth and you want to be rich, you have to start investing. It doesn't matter what you're going to invest in, but it has to be a place where your money can grow for you, right? So once you get past the point of being able to cover your bills on time, paying, keeping your credit card debt low, and not stressing about money, then what are you going to do? Start investing in your future. That's what I brought up retirement. Not only should you be saving for retirement, how much more can you put towards that retirement if you're just doing the minimum at that point, right? Can you up that? Can you put money towards other savings goals and investing goals, like maybe investing for your children? That's the next steps I would do once I started getting all the basics under control. Do you
Yeah,
agree?
I agree, and also say let's put some fun stuff in here. I consider investing fun as well and saving for the future fun.
Yeah.
But you can also save for not so distant future, right? You can start saving. I like to call a sunshine fund, right? Instead of just focusing on emergency funds, what makes you think of rainy days. What
Mm-hmm.
about a sunshine fund that's going to focus on some sunny days? So if you want to go on a great vacation, if you want to host a fantastic birthday party, which I was doing the numbers, many people think that it takes a lot of money to do a lot of experiences, and it really doesn't when you actually like break down the numbers. A lot of times you can go to a very exotic place, and the most expensive thing that might be into that vacation is your plane ticket, right? So just think about, break it down exactly what you want to do and put some math behind it and see what's actually going to cost to do those things. So like say if you want to have a fantastic party for like 40, 50 people, right? 50 people, a fantastic party. I'm talking about $200 spent per person. That's only $10,000. And I would make it a milestone party or something like that. But having a fantastic event for just that many people, but only being $10,000 is a great value, I see, right? So put a sunshine fund together. Say, I want to go on exotic vacation, maybe a 2 week cruise. Start putting that money away for the not too distant future if you have what you need in the immediate term and you also have your emergency fund funded.
I would add a hack to that if you want to make that vacation or that special thing even better. Put the base money away, save that up, and then whatever extra you can, invest that into your brokerage account. See if you can buy a stock that will rise in price, sell that, and then that will be like maybe you were flying economy, but that difference you made in the market could get you to fly business class or get you a room upgrade. Those are things that you can do in the short term that, okay, I have my base vacation covered. How can I make it better by
You can
investing?
upgrade.
The upgrade. Give yourself an upgrade. That's the way I
So
look at it.
So two things with that. I would say you want to do that at least maybe a year out so you're not getting caught with so much in terms of capital gains tax. And then
Yeah.
two, you want to make sure that you're putting money that you can lose in there, right?
Yeah.
Because at that point you are betting, you're putting on a single stock, you're betting that money, but it's for an upgrade. So if you're okay to lose that money, then it's great. Take a chance and get an upgrade.
Now,
Okay.
I'll
So
be
those are the
clear. I
two things.
said put the money for the vacation away. Take
Yes.
extra money, put in the market. You don't want to lose the money that you had set away for the vacation. Don't say I told you that. Okay.
Okay, so that's it, guys. I think this was a good one. What do you think, Nadia? I think many people might not understand that they're doing better financially than they actually are. And I think if you look at the signs that we say in this video, I think if you have at least one to five or all of them, then you're doing financially well. So if you like this type of video, if you like this type of info,
Yeah.
please feel free to subscribe to our free newsletter that we have called the Wealth Pack, where we share our insights and also tips and different information when it comes to all about personal financing and investing. And we would love for you to join the community. If you want something like that and you want to be on our list so you get the first news about anything that we do on top of
Mm-hmm.
that, then check the link in the description below.
Yeah, it's called the Wealth Pack, and like Nicole said, it's free to join. And we not only talk about money, we talk about investing. We also talk about mindset because I feel like, and Nicole feels like it too. Mindset is one of the biggest keys when it comes to getting your money correct for yourself. Okay,
Yep.
so until then, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you in the next video.
Yes, feel free to share this with anyone you care about too. And see you next time, guys.